Yo, let me tell y'all about it. Welcome to the Pot and Politics Podcast. I am your host, Sean G's Waters. Sitting next to me is my production man, Andrew Johnson, for the day. Beside him, we have Christian Kaiser, and then we have Ann Brown. Next to him, we have Rocky Struther. And we're going to get into some shit today for y'all. You know, some of y'all might get mad at us before the show is over. Some of y'all might come to love us even more. But we're going to talk our shit because this is what the fuck we do. So how's everybody doing today?
Yo, what's up?
Good.
Good. It's been a long week. You know, I've been real busy, so I'm leaning on y'all this week because, you know, I done had some shit going on, as y'all know. But we're going to start the show today with, are the polls really accurate? So, now for me, I don't know, because every poll you see is at a different angle. And I'm thinking that it's all angles, is pretty much all these damn polls are saying, depending on from whose view you looking at it and who's doing the fucking counting. And what's the word I'm looking for? Narrative that they're doing this polling on.
Yeah,
Correct.
they could absolutely be they could absolutely be part of it. My question about it was exactly that: is who is answering the calls? Who are they calling? Who in 2024 answers their phone? Because I'm pretty sure everyone in my world, including myself, if you have a phone call come in, you don't recognize it, you're not going to answer it. And these
Silence.
people aren't going to leave a message to ask the question. So, I'm pretty sure the age group that answers their phones these days, my mom and dad answer their phone every time I call them. My grandmother answers her phone every time I call her. So yeah, that's I think you're pretty much narrowing down your demographic right there with the fact that they use phones in the first place. I know they also probably go to events and different things, and that would touch back to what you said. What event are you going to? Are you going to see, Hank Williams Jr. and taking the poll, or are you going to see Rage Against the Machine and taking the poll?
Mhm.
Yeah,
my
because
thoughts.
I've never been polled a day in my life
Nope.
I
about
haven't.
any candidate. So
Anyone-
you're just
has
like,
anyone-
where are y'all getting these numbers from? And
Has anyone been polled while we're asking that
No.
question?
I got one. All right, so Ann, now let me be correct in this. You have a degree in political science,
History, political science.
history, political science. So that means you would know about how the poll shit is done.
So,
a little something, right?
basically, most of it's computer generated. And kind of touching on what Chris was saying, it depends on not only the method that they're conducting the polls, if it's in person, in different, demographics they're targeting, but the more important thing is they use landlines. And so typically anybody that's going to be answering a landline is going to be more of like the boomer and older.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't even know nobody that's got a fucking landline on me.
So that kind of skews it in one way, right there, I
Right.
think. And then also, again, it's, sample size. So are they using, a sample of 500 people, or is this a sample of 5,000, which might give a little bit more of a,
And
appropriate
also
reflection.
the geographics of where they pulling it from is going to make a difference.
But
as
I
well.
think the prime example is what happened in 2016, where
Hillary
the
Clinton.
Huffington Post had Clinton winning, 98% chance of winning.
Okay.
So, something that can be that far off.
Well, I mean, but
It's
in
obviously
the
gonna
in the
dip down.
popular vote, she won by like what, damn near 2 million votes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But
Right.
But
the
it's-
polls
yeah.
were so skewed. And, we had relied on those polls, and they had been right. They had been somewhat close, for, decades.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, and still we don't know exactly why, those were completely wrong. Just completely.
And we know that it typically, they say plus or minus 3%, but it's more 6 or 7% margin of error. So when you have that kind of margin of error, it really, it's
Polling's dead,
it's
in my
hard to
opinion.
really get.
That's where it leaves me. It's polling. I
an
don't pay
accurate
attention
view.
to
I
it.
mean, yeah, when it's
When they
put. See,
announce them, I ignore it. I'm just like, whatever. There's no way that's right.
now I didn't know that they was, like they pulled the polls from landline phone calls. Like, I'm gonna say, because my mother's 76 years old, you know what I'm saying, and she won't answer the landline.
Right.
She got to do the cable shit, you know what I'm saying?
Landline.
But it's that.
Where are you buying a phone?
Right.
It's through the
But it's-
cable. You
but
get
it's that-
cable, you get the shit.
Exactly.
The bullshit.
But it's that demographic that is.
So when they don't have that, when they don't have, They don't have internet. They still have that phone. So then you're definitely changing your demographic at that point. People who live in such rural areas don't normally, anyway.
Yeah.
Huge factors in all that, and I don't think it's reliable. I think it's the way that the media gets people to tune in, and yeah, it's worthless at this point in my opinion.
And I mean, obviously, Trump's looking at a different poll than everybody else because all the polls that he sees, he's leading.
He's always
By
leading.
a lot.
By the hugest
Yeah.
margin ever.
And I'm just like, what polls are you seeing?
That goes back to where
Are
I
you
think
winning
the
this
landlines
every
exist.
time?
They
Yeah.
exist in the hollows and in
Yeah.
Appalachia and in places that the internet doesn't reach. And those people generally are going to be Trump and Republican voters. And I think that's why you can't pay any attention to these polls.
And those polls also align with the ideology of that specific network or
Exactly.
conductor of the poll. So
Okay, all right. Welcome back to the Pot and Politics Podcast. I am your host, Sean G's Waters. This episode of the Pot and Politics Podcast was sponsored by Luxury Chariots Taxi Service, serving the whole Augusta County. You can call them at 540-448-8787. And also GTB Wellness Center on Greenville Avenue in Stanton. You can find them in Maybush Village. So, with that being said, the marijuana, it's time to talk about what we've smoked. And we started smoking it a little bit before the show, enough to, get the blaze on. It is from, this week, it is from Queen City Grow. I just had the pleasure of smoking their bourbon berry last week. I thought it was fantastic. But today we smoked, what did we smoke, y'all?
Fat Banana.
Fat Banana. I'm going to let Christian tell y'all about this Fat Banana, and then we'll review it.
All right, so Fat Banana, I'm looking it up now on Leafly. I don't know why I said Leafly. It is it's a hybrid marijuana strain crossing OG Kush and Chiquita Banana. It said you can expect the strain to taste sweet and citrusy. The aroma reminiscent of bananas. It says talkative, creative, happy, dry mouth, dry eyes, dizzy would be the negatives. I definitely caught a good buzz off of it. I have a head buzz. It's totally in my head. It's not so much of a body buzz to me. It was a little dry. It was cured a little much. Moisture content's really hard to control anyway, and I would have to wonder when it was harvested and when it was grown. If it was it seems like it was on the dry side, and when you do the dry side, obviously it kind of hurts your terpenes and your flavor. So even though it wasn't a bad flavor, I tasted a lot of like the myrcene and the caryophyllene, which more like earthy and peppery flavors. I didn't get so much of the banana from it, but I'd probably give it a 6 or a 7 on our scale. We're gonna hone in even what that means. I think we were just talking about that. We're gonna get our scale a little bit tighter.
Yeah, the scale will change next week.
But I wouldn't. It's solid. It's a good grow, but I think maybe the moisture content is where it sets it off. What do you guys think?
I definitely got a good buzz off of it. Like I said, I smoked their bourbon berry last week, and I enjoyed that a lot more than this one. I ain't gonna say this weed ain't good, because like you said, I got a nice head buzz, but for me, it's a little harsh on my throat, and that pepper, like you said, Chris, like when you hit the oil pen and you get that little pepper at the end on your throat, that's kind of unenjoyable. That's what I got, but yeah, I'll definitely give it on the high side of a 7 myself. What you think, Ian?
I think it Chris nailed it with the curing. I think it dried out a little bit much, which made it a little harsh. The bud looked really good though.
Oh yeah, it was pretty.
Oh yeah, it was very, very pretty.
Under the magnifier lens truck.
I have pictures of that up.
Yeah,
and there will be pictures that come up with this pod. I mean, it did look very, very good.
I'll have to go with 7 as well.
A 7. So that's not bad at all. Y'all can check Queen City Grow out. Y'all know how to find them. And yeah, so that was the part of our politics. let me start by saying this. Jennifer, we miss you on the show. We want you to get well soon. That COVID is a motherfucker. I hated that shit when I had it. And yeah, the female point of view is missed today.
We miss you.
So anyway, we're going to move on to Kamala's economic plan. Now, me personally, I'm gonna have somebody else run it down, but I would just like to start it by saying, is she really trying to help people get their first time home buyer thing? I'm really with that. So here's Christian again to give us the rundown.
Yeah. She dropped it this week, and they've been waiting for it to drop and see if it was any better than Joe. And it looks pretty good from what I'm seeing. I've got it out here in front of me. I'm gonna give you guys a rundown. So what it's focused on is food prices, taxes, housing, and medical costs. The whole point is to empower the middle class. So for the food, it's proposed federal limits on price increases for food producers and grocers. That'll keep them, make it so it sets a price. They can't just gouge it every time something happens, like COVID, for example, or like FEMA weather related events and things. They have to keep it at the same. They can't gouge us, which is really will help the working class. And they'll enact steeper punishments on the violators. That'll help always him in the pocketbook. Crack down on mergers and acquisitions, and that's like if, let's say, General Mills wants to buy out Pepsi, or Pepsi wants to end up, these companies, the bigger they get, the more they can buy the smaller ones. So then you end up having a brand that you didn't know owns probably 50 other brands that you use.
Goes into monopoly. Like if you have, say, a Pepsi and Coke merge, they can merge all of their products together and basically shut out all of the small ones.
Exactly. And there's no competition. Then they can charge what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Blah, blah. So it'll put, limits on that. All these things are the key why all these prices are higher now. These rising prices didn't just happen today. That's not how that works. It didn't just happen since Joe Biden's been elected. That's not how that system works. And we'll get more into that after I finish. The second would be housing. She's proposing that the construction of $3 million worth of 3 million homes. 3 million new housing units over 4 years. I'm sorry, I misread that. 3 million new housing units over 4 years. Tax credits for construction companies who build starter homes to be sold to first-time home buyers, and repurpose federal land for housing, which that's also a Trump thing, was to use some federal lands for to repurpose for housing, and that's definitely a debated thing between both sides, of whether or not people like that happening or not. Another thing with the housing is $25,000 for some first-time home buyers will get $25,000 down to put down to buy towards their home. That is going to be so big for a lot of families. That's going to get a lot of working class people into their first home, which means legacy, which means, it's huge. That's one of my favorite parts of this proposal. Number 3 would be taxes and medical costs. Allow Medicare and other federal programs to negotiate with drug makers, just like they did with the insulin thing, where they just dropped the insulin prices down a crazy amount. That was huge if you are a diabetic or have a diabetic family member. Promote more competition. Then we get into the child tax credits. When you file your taxes, they want to go ahead and solidify the $3,600 child tax credit that is that gets, they vote on that and renew it. This will just put it in concrete. Then increasing it to $6,000 tax credit for if you have a newborn. That'll be tremendous in helping people get started for their new families.
Absolutely.
And then expand the earned income tax credit, which hits us all directly in our pockets in real time as we work. It sounds great. It sounds fantastic. It definitely reaches a little further than Joe did, I think. And even has a couple things that Trump approves of on there for those who would care about that. So,
do you see any negatives?
Sounds pretty good.
The $25,000 first home buyer benefit, like that's real major. That's a decent down payment on any house around 200, 300,000, which is pretty much what's out there now in this area.
It's damn near a quarter.
Yeah,
damn near a quarter.
Yeah, so I mean that's your down payment, and it definitely gets you in a house. Now, question is what the stipulations is going to be. Are you going to have to be under a certain income? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to have to? What's the stipulations with that?
There'll be loopholes for sure.
Yeah, definite loopholes. So it could be good if it's you know what I'm saying, using a broad spectrum, but if it's narrowed down to where a family can't make more than say 120,000 a year to be able to get it, then I mean,
then it's pretty much the same situation
it is right
already.
now.
They ain't gonna help shit. Like I like this 6,000 tax credit for newborns. I wish the hell it was like that when I was still popping out babies. But I mean, you know, because I was a single parent for a minute. You know what I mean? And yo, $6,000 would have made a whole hell of a difference, especially to have it all at one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to put more housing units on the market, I mean that'll help drive housing prices down.
Theoretically, if and see, that's another thing with being in our area because we know why our property went sky high. Charlottesville, traveling nurses and doctors and shit figured out that the land over here was much cheaper than Charlottesville, so they'd make that half-hour commute. Everybody over on this side said, well, that's what's happening. Let's jack this shit up.
And I mean, pretty much you have all of the realtors, they just basically all got together and was like, let's go ahead and set these prices at this. And they're going to have to pay it if they want somewhere to live. And you have people that's now paying almost 80% of their household income just on rent.
Just on rent, yeah.
Heaven forbid you have your car break down or get in a wreck and you have to buy a new car. You wouldn't even be able to afford a decent car to continue to work to live in a damn apartment. It's $1,800 a month.
True. So which puts it that unless you are something like a truck driver who, you know, makes a significant amount of money.
Truckers ain't even making no money anymore.
Well, I mean, you know, and a point is to where, all right, I might have used, well, unless you have a real good financial hold,
yeah,
it's damn near impossible for someone to live comfortably that's single. You know what I'm saying? That one income is not going to run a home no more.
And buying a home is not easy. In most cases, you have to go through a realtor to buy a home. You can't just buy, like I can't just sell you a house straight from owner to buyer. I think that maybe Virginia just improved on that to where you don't have to go through a realtor. But up until now, I mean, that's $4,000 or $5,000 on the cheapest of house right off the top.
Right.
They make it pretty impossible. So anything to make it easier, especially with the homeless rate rising, and I mean, it's bad. It's as bad as it's ever been.
Well, I actually seen something on the news yesterday that they're actually they're putting a cap on the commission that realtors get now.
Good, they fucking should, man.
They need to, man.
Yeah.
And I don't ever hate on nobody for getting their coin, but that should be ridiculous. All right, so basically, with the realtor's cap, it's saying break that down again, Ian, for those.
Rocky, maybe you can do it a little bit better. I think it's allowing for more competition.
It's allowing
for
for
price.
more. Yeah, it says the cost of hiring a real estate agent to buy or sell a home may soon change along with decades-old rules that have helped determine broker commission. The policy changes could help spur price competition for agents. Services and lower the cost for sellers who now typically cover the commission for buyers and agents, as well as that of their own.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, the buyer at the end of the day could come out with a better deal just because the agents got to pretty much fight with each other on what they're going to be able to charge.
But at the same time, that's still leaving us in the same position because you have, even though ethically they're not supposed to, they could still talk to each other and be like, hey, this buyer came to me looking for this, and this is what I'm offering. I'd like to help you out in the future, but if you could help me out now,
it's a valid point.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
a valid
it still
point.
puts you in the same
position. I think it happens in a lot of industries where you have them, working as cohorts.
I mean,
to drive prices up. So
under their ethics code, they're not supposed to.
Correct.
Supposed to do that. But
right. I mean, because I get taxi calls all the time with Charlottesville. You know, like, look, I got somebody trying to come to Waynesboro. This is what I charge, so they might hit you up. And I'd be like, all right, but I'm not messing. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Well,
that's neither here nor there.
We're going to see because 2025, I'm going to make something shake. and I'm gonna be the guinea pig for this.
Right. We're gonna find out if this shit ain't gonna work one way or the other.
I mean, I just ain't giving you dollars just because you look cute.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
You better shake something.
You gotta shake, make it happen. Get it something clapping. And what other points we got, fellas? I know we getting off.
I think that the most important thing, I guess, that I take away is that she actually has a plan. You know,
and it's solid.
It just again shows the contrast of what we're dealing with.
And-
I mean, you know, just yesterday, I guess it was, you know, we have, and we'll touch on it later, but you know, we have Trump talking about inflation and putting on the displays of all the goods for everyone to see, but he's doing it in front of his mansion.
Exactly.
You know, and
with,
so
with a box of Tic Tacs.
you know, again, it's just, you know,
Unbelievable. And
crazy rhetoric versus someone who has a vision and, you know, plan to try to implement things to help the
And
economy.
then, honestly,
help people.
in the past 4 years, like that's the first actual policy that I've seen in writing that is actually a policy. I've yet to see any policy that Donald Trump has proposed that wasn't bullshit that he was talking. And Biden, everything he does, you don't hear about his policy until it's an actual policy. You wake up in the morning and all of a sudden there's Biden did this overnight. Well, okay, cool. But like, where was the planning for that?
yeah.
I mean, at least with this, I mean, no, granted, she still has to become president and she still has to implement it.
And
but
it's
at
contingent
least-
upon all chambers. So, I mean, there is
Exactly.
definitely obstacles and barriers.
Exactly. But
You
at
know.
least she has a policy.
Absolutely.
And she's not talking about Sleepy Joe or, you know what I'm saying, Trump's fucking chicken wig that he wears on his
And
head.
history speaks
She-
for itself. Trump
Exactly.
was president 4 years. Where was all the tax breaks went to corporations and his millionaire friends? None went to middle class working. class, lower class.
Exactly. And that's all he's wanting to do now.
And you know, he sent out the checks for COVID to all of us and the PPP loans, but that's what's causing the inflation now.
Exactly.
They blame Biden, but what do they think happened? Where did all those checks that got sent out and all the PPP loans and all the things that got handed out, where did that money come from? Where does that recover? It recovers now. And I think that it has a lot to do with the inflation we're seeing. And
the way
Trump has shown he's not going to help us out, working class. He's not going to help you out. He's not going to give you the cuts you need. He's basing it all on that trickle down bullshit from the Reagan era because he loves Reagan. They all love Reagan. And I mean, again, when does the trickle start? Because I was a very young man when Reagan got elected, and I'm still waiting for the trickle.
Well,
So my
trickle down
parents are still waiting
economics
for the
doesn't
trickle.
work because,
It doesn't.
I mean,
It's bullshit.
when you have CEOs inflating their salary by 50 million every
No
year,
trickle.
whatever could trickle down to you has been soaked up.
It all trickled up.
Exactly.
And Trump wants to keep it trickling up, and it's just it's not because I'm anti-Trump. The proof is in the pudding. He was president for 4 years. Show me what he did. Kamala's looking out for us. She got a plan for us. Us meaning working class. I don't think there's any billionaires sitting on this panel right
Not yet.
None.
Not
Not one.
not as of one.
now.
I'm trying to find something, yo, that I wanted to click on here. But until I get there, have y'all been seeing the crazy ass ads like this one I got in front of me now, where it shows a beautiful neighborhood, right, with a row house with a nice American flag hanging off the front porch, and it says "Our neighborhood under Trump."
Oh yeah.
And then beside it, it shows basically, I'm guessing they in a ghetto. Looks like it could have been a big video shoot, maybe.
I mean, that's
people
because
drinking out of
it's a bunch of black folks.
yeah, a bunch of
Trump
black
knows
folks,
his
and then it
base.
says your neighborhood under Kamala.
Trump knows his base. Trump knows that his base are majority white Christians who are racist.
Absolutely.
And if you can make them fear,
Dog.
this is, I mean, case in point. Kamala's name is Kamala. It is not Kamala. It is Kamala. It is not Kabbalah or whatever the hell he was saying. He's trying to make her seem like, huh?
Kama blah, whatever that
Yeah,
was supposed to mean.
what he's doing is he's appealing to his base. If he can make her seem as though she's different and she's not from here and she's not like us, he can try to hang on to his base, which is what he did with that picture. He wants that the picture's full of black folks.
I want you to post, and I want you to post that
And it
picture
was
as well.
supposed to be immigrants.
Yeah,
His intention was immigrants.
Yeah.
But it just looks like a bunch of black people in the street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and exactly. And
And
you
I
know
don't
what I'm
think they
saying?
mind that. At least one person in their crew said, "Wait, it's like this," and they said, "Put it
Yeah, put it out there.
put it out."
Because as long as you're scared that the blacks and browns are coming to take your towns, you won't get what you get down when it come to Trump.
You gonna get your ass aligned? They're coming. They coming. Which?
On a
Which?
serious note, I mean, in politics, racism sells. As
Oh,
long,
yeah.
as,
Right now
as
it's
long
hot.
as you can make
It's
people
hot.
fear,
It's damn hot.
as long as you can make people fear that they're going to lose what they have to somebody who is not like them, you will get them to fall in line and get them to do what you want. But I think he's fucking rode that turkey so long that turkey burnt up.
Dude, I was naive at that level of fear. I was naive. I knew that racism existed. I mean, there was Klan march in Waynesboro when I was a child. I mean, when I
Yeah,
was
understand.
it ain't happening. You know, they throw out the cards in people's yards. It's always happened here. But I really felt like we had gotten like we'd grown, and then the whole Obama thing, I really felt like we grew. And then Charlottesville came and hit me like a fucking brick in my face and said, "No, no, no! These people are terrified of black people. They're terrified of losing their white control." I just did not feel it was. I had no idea the hate was that big, and I would have reacted and been there and been a lot different on that scene. I think a lot of us in Virginia wouldn't have let that happen so slick.
Yeah,
If we'd have known that all that hate was coming to us.
Yeah, and
Not
that
to
shit,
get off on
like,
that
literally
topic, 'cause
over
we will
fucking
have a
night.
whole show on Charlottesville, but I'm just saying
That's
that
coming.
was
The
when I
Charlottesville fucking
realized
show was
how
coming.
awful that damn, he is speaking to a big group of people in this country who are afraid of losing people who have, and it was the poorest people from the country. It's people who have nothing. What exactly are you losing here? Because they ain't giving you shit in the first place.
That's
And we
like
don't even
his-
get y'all shit.
That's like
Yeah,
his-
got our own shit.
extra shit anyway. Really,
his way of trying to pander to black people is saying the Mexicans or they're coming across the border for your black
There's
job.
always someone else. Black job.
It's a black job.
Oh, black job.
Black, and I got a job, and I work with white people. Now, are you telling me that my company is going to hire somebody that is here illegally to replace my job because I'm black? I don't know what the hell you're talking
Is
about.
my job white? I need to.
Yes,
My favorite thing from the Olympics was when Simone Biles tweeted, "I love my,
My black job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate
Yeah, that was the
slap back right there for me.
I would like to say this on that topic because I threw that shit
A little bit.
shitting around in my head like a whole lot. Like, what the fuck is a black job? All right, so let's think about this shit. When the slaves was brought over here, they built this motherfucking country.
They built the White House.
They built the fucking White House. They built the
That's
Capitol.
Yep.
So pretty much every fucking job in this country is a black job.
Dude, there's a lot of
That's what we
inventions.
talking about.
But I
He's a
mean,
cocksucker.
There's a lot
the
of
thing is, it's
really
like,
influential inventions, man, that came from.
yeah.
the
Well, hell, I mean,
It's
I mean,
all-
that's a
it's
whole
all-
nother in itself.
yeah.
country doesn't happen without.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
but I
Pretty
mean,
much.
to further that,
So all the jobs is the answer.
yeah, that's
That's
further that whole
Hold
subject.
on.
Now let's talk about what he means. Y'all name the jobs he means.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I
We know
mean,
what the fuck
shit.
his racist
Yeah,
ass
we
means.
know what
it's
he-
the ones
what
that are
he's-
serving him at Mar-a-Lago, the ones that are mowing the grass, the ones that are
We
feeding,
know what he's
making his food,
insinuating.
Yeah.
making his
You know,
bed.
yeah.
He is a nasty, dirty motherfucker, dude. I hate to say it every episode, but I end up getting so mad by this third part, and when we do it,
It just happens.
it's nothing that we're making up. It's things he's doing that's making us.
And
mad.
he says it blatantly. Like, it's one
Black
thing to
job.
have
Man,
it's
get outta
one
here.
thing to have that under the cover, you know what I'm saying, racism, but this dude has made it
It's full
commonplace
Yeah.
for it to be in the open.
He
And I
wears
think,
And to act as if it's not racism.
yeah.
It's like he took the Klan hood and just cut a face hole in it.
hell yeah, he ain't peeping through the eye holes no more.
Cut the face hole.
That's not thrown in his head.
That's right.
I think it's just why, again, just going back to like the polling, you see, or projections just in general, you see them saying that he's going to take 16% of the
Yeah.
black vote. I mean, it's just ludicrous.
Yeah, that's-
This guy every day can't stop with the
Offends.
diarrhea from his mouth.
Offends people
I
daily.
mean,
I actually met a black Trump supporter last week.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna tell the whole story because the shit went left. But the brother got in the car, he lost his job and they had him in a real messed up situation. So let's just say I had to take him far and we spent some time together. And, you know, he's talking to me as, you know, I'm a black man. I'm used to this. I'm going to come up. And then in the same time, like, he starts to talk about how he's a Trump supporter and everything that basically. So I started asking him, you know, about other politicians and shit just to see where his mind was, right? He didn't know any. Like, he didn't know any. He didn't even know who his governor of his own state was, which I don't know the governor of his state, but I don't fucking live in Ohio. So, but I asked him what his beef with Kamala was. Everything that he said was some shit that Trump said out of his fucking mouth that this man never fact checked for his fuck self.
And that's
all
how,
fucking
So,
that's how Trump supporters always are. They only go off of what they hear him say. They never go off of the stuff that they actually know because they've seen.
You can't debate them because they have no sense of history. No
Exactly.
sense of anything.
Exactly.
No sense of it.
I mean, they're still trying to convince us that, you know what I'm saying? Oh,
we should.
You came here as slaves because Africans sold y'all as slaves. They did not sell us into chattel slavery because they did not have a fucking concept of it.
No, they did not have a concept of it. It was brought over there.
It's
You
like
know
the
what?
states-
But
it's like
for
the
you,
states'
sir.
rights Civil War.
For you,
argument.
sir, I
It
will
wasn't
have
about
to say
slavery,
this.
It was about states'
Right.
rights. It's like states' rights own slaves.
The brother that I
Yeah,
had in
exactly.
the taxi got a load of clip for your ass. So I'm gonna need you to eat that for me. And now let me stop. I gotta pause for a minute. Now, I'm coming up with the rotten dick or the rotten bitch of the week. That's my new thing. And to go back to what Rock was saying, all of these fucked up names about Kamala. So, what's her name? Nancy Mace, right?
Oh.
You are the rotten bitch of the week. You fucking suck. You know what her name is. Stop being disrespectful. CNN ate your ass up and you look real dumb. So we're going to give your ass a loaded clip as well.
She said it was disrespectful to women to correct her for calling her the wrong name.
Yeah.
That's how they spin.
That's how they
How
spin.
they twist. It's like, okay, Nancy Mace, her career, hopefully is going to see the end soon.
You should see it very soon.
I can't wait till the whole MAGA situation is over and done with, and it's just a point in American history that we look back on and be like, what the fuck was going on here?
Get back to some normal politics.
But what are those people going to do?
Politics.
What are they going to do?
Some normal politics.
Like I said,
And we look forward for the old Republican Party to return sometime.
Yeah, we would love y'all
We
to
look
come
forward-
back.
Yeah.
I used
look
to jive
forward to
with
that.
y'all. I used to fish and hunt with you cats. I used to do things with you kids. Party with y'all. I mean, we could party all night. And that's then put an end to that. And it's Trump's fault. We need to get rid of him and get back to business in America. We don't need a tragedy like 9/11 to bring us together to look the same way. I saw a post by my good friend Rocky here this week that said maybe that was what we're going to need. And it's like, it has come to that. But hopefully we don't. Hopefully we can just get past this shit, find unity like we used to have in America. No matter what, we can fight each other, but we still look in the same direction. We're still each other's brothers and sisters and neighbors, and it's us against the. That's
Right
how
on.
that's how we do things. And I don't know, unity. We need to get it back, man.
All right. So with that being said, that's a good place to wrap up this part. So we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds.
All right, so what we're going to talk about next, we're going to talk about Trump and his civilian award being better than the Congressional Medal of Honor, which I don't know what planet he lives on. Where I come from, and the guys that I sent rounds down range with, which I actually didn't do, so I'm not going to cap. But yeah, if you get the Congressional Medal of Honor, that means that you went above and beyond the call of duty to protect those that you're serving with and those that you're in combat with. So let's say, give you an example for some of y'all that don't know. Catch a grenade in a foxhole, you got a fire team, your fire team in there with you, seven guys. You're the only one that sees a grenade. You know if the grenade goes off, it's going to kill all of y'all. So you make the sacrifice, you jump on a grenade blows you up, you die. What happens is that is an act of valor that goes above and beyond the call of duty. So posthumously, you'll be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor because of that act. So there's nothing your ass is going to do as a civilian that's going to be greater than that. And Trump giving this award to, what's the lady's name? Anywho, the lady that he gave it to
Sheldon Alderson's wife.
Yeah.
Miriam Alderson.
Miriam Alderson.
Yep.
Who happens to be one of Trump's donors.
Biggest
A
donor.
big
Her
time donor.
Big
husband
time
was
donor.
the biggest donor before
Yeah.
he died.
So basically, he's claiming that his award that he gave to her is better than the Congressional Medal of Honor because she gave him some bread. Now, if that ain't the definition of a con man and about somebody, or definition of somebody who don't give a shit about the troops and the country, I don't know what is.
The man said that it's better because in the military, when you get it, you have to get shot with a whole bunch of bullets and die. But she's alive and beautiful and stuff. Like, what the fuck's wrong with this dude? Y'all people who still support this piece of shit.
How many times?
Leave a comment. Hold on. Look. At this point right now, we got some people that's following the pages, and we appreciate all of you, be it you agree with us, be it you don't. But those of you who don't agree with us and y'all still support Trump, we need to see some motherfucking comments in the comment section. Defend y'all. This, how you say it? This is your king? This is your president? Defend this man. How can y'all defend this shit? I want to know.
Be ready to battle when you defend them.
And please be ready. Because we've been holding this shit back because, you know, we've been running real smooth and shit. But I know some of y'all, I done seen some of y'all who just sent the friend request. I'm the one who approves everybody. And I'm going to tell you now, there has been nobody that I did not approve. I don't give a shit if you like me or you don't. If you walk into my motherfucking house, I will destroy you. And this podcast is my house. So, with that being said, please, we've just opened the door for y'all. All y'all got to do is walk the fuck in at this point so we can start seeing who's who. Don't everybody just be here and be quiet. Because I know you're out there. And you support this cocksucker, so support him. I need to hear what y'all talking about.
Stand on it. If you say you like his policies,
stand on business.
If you say you like his policies, we want to have a legitimate conversation with you. I'll even tone it down a little bit. We want to have a legitimate conversation so you can daggone tell us what it is that he has that you think is so great or why you're still supporting him. Because he has yet to propose any policy that makes any goddamn sense since he stepped on the scene. He told y'all that he was going to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it.
And y'all believe that shit.
Obviously, y'all don't know Mexico.
Never to Mexico. Never to Tijuana. And let me tell y'all this on that fact. I go to Tijuana frequently, okay? And I can tell y'all this shit. Saw the wall before. You saw the wall? Everybody saw the wall. Y'all saw on TV how they cut holes to the wall or they throw a fucking big ass ladder up and then, you know, how to poke the motherfucker down the other side of the wall.
And they got shovels, motherfucker. They build tunnels on that wall.
But that wall. Has anybody ever seen the trench that they gotta go through before they get to the fucking wall?
Yeah.
Anybody who runs through that nasty shit right there, if they make it to the wall, they're not gonna let the wall keep them out. I know, I saw the goddamn trench. I actually saw the federales chasing a motherfucker down when I was coming back across customs. Is this little thing that you gotta walk through and you can see down where that trench at, right? When the motherfucker got to the trench, that bitch just stopped. It was like, nah, I'm gonna go in the fuck back.
So let me tell you
Gotta fuck him and his wall.
Let me tell you about the trench. This is a little off topic.
That shit
because
nasty.
I was out there and I actually know what's popping.
That shit's nasty.
So you know when we send let's say undocumented immigrants. I hate saying illegal immigrants. That's fucking disrespectful as shit. When we send them back to Mexico and they don't have papers, they just don't get to go back home to Mexico. They can't get back into Mexico either. So they're in no man's land.
And that trench.
That trench is no man's land. If you actually look, there's holes dug in that trench. And sometimes they'll have blankets up. Sometimes they'll have tents up. They actually live in those holes in that trench. They can't They can't actually go back into Mexico if they don't have papers. So when we send, and this is something that a lot of people don't know.
I didn't know that.
Them back to Mexico, unless they sneak back into Mexico when we take them, like they can't get back into Mexico. They're stuck in no man's land. So they can't come into Mexico. They can't come into the United States. So that trench, which is technically a river because it's an aqueduct, they dig into the side of that, and that's where they take shelter at. Like they turn that into their homes, and like some of them have big ass spots dug out in that damn trench. That's just like an underground house.
And still, they managing to come take these black jobs.
Man. Well, I will say that nobody gonna get my black job. Some of them motherfuckers that went through that goddamn nasty ass trench and they come and they want a job, I got you.
Well, let's not even mention the fact that the entire economy would collapse without them coming into this country.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you know, you want to talk about a certain job. Yeah, typically Hispanic jobs are the ones because typically Americans are too
Don't
lazy
eat
to
that
do
shit.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's the reality.
Millennials
And so
ain't
without
big on labor.
Without them, that's
The new
and
generations
with
are big on hard labor.
With them so far, I mean, look at our economy. It's
Look at our-
I mean, think about how high the price of orange juice went up when
Right.
Trump came into office because he deported
That's right.
all of the workers.
We
Like
rely on it.
you remember hell, let's say 8 years ago, you'd be riding down the interstate, you see flowers planted on the side of the interstate, and the grass was always mowed.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't pay attention that doesn't happen anymore because those workers were migrant workers. We sent all of them back and denied their work visas. So now there's no crews out there that does that.
Nope. And Mar-a-Lago's grass still mowed. So explain that.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, I want to go back and take a quick thing and say, look, we're not attacking Trump. We're making a point not to do that on our podcast. We're stating facts. These are things he said. These are things he did. You can check it. You can find this anywhere written. It's not like it's only on liberal broadcasts, the things we're saying. This is what this man is doing, and that is what we're talking about here. I'm not attacking him for the kind of man he is. I'm not going to talk about how, you know, his personal life. These are the policies. These are the policies he either didn't bring or he lies about. The 2 weeks and I'll announce an infrastructure plan that I'm still waiting for 8 years later. You know, he's not following through. He hasn't done these things. And like I said, come onto the comments and bring real concrete evidence and things that he has done for you. The ways things are better, the way the economy was better during his presidency while we were all suffering from a pandemic and shutting our homes. I mean, just come with real. I mean, Cat Williams said it. 2024 is the year of truth.
Well,
Bring
notice though, Rocky the one that said he was going to tone his shit down. I did not say that. Just so y'all motherfuckers know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's hard.
All right. So what else we got before we get up out of here? Inflation.
Inflation.
Yeah, inflation.
That's a rough.
Inflation, groceries, gas, and rents. What really got us to this point?
Well, as far in our goddamn area, thank you, traveling nurses and doctors of Charlottesville, for making our goddamn rent go up.
Well, you know, our local economy definitely pushed up from the sprawl of the cities. We're people who don't know where we live is the I-81 64 corridor. We're in the middle of UVA and Charlottesville. We've got JMU to the north of us, just as close, and then we have Virginia Tech to the south of us. And that corridor, you know, there's a lot of growth in all three of those places, and all that affects us because we were the cheap place to live because we don't really have a lot of growth where we're at. Unfortunately, other than like, yeah, I mean, now we're seeing with Northrop Grumman coming. My God, that's going to be a pretty big.
That's what I'm.
That's a
fearing.
big
when they come and their starting salaries are $94,000.
Yeah,
That's going
see,
to
it's
drop
already hard for us to keep up.
Exactly.
with how much people are getting paid in the surrounding cities and living here. So.
94,000.
That's their starting
And what
salary. They build Northrop Grumman does like daggone aerospace stuff and
Yeah. Military contract.
No, some bombs and
It's
shit.
huge. It's huge.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're gonna be building
Exactly.
the bombs.
Oh yeah, third world
Yeah.
countries will bomb a lot.
Oh yeah. This is gonna get real fucking.
Right out in Waynesboro now.
Nah,
But,
I'm not
you know,
gonna front like I'm not gonna go there.
But I have to touch back on.
I mean, 90 racks. 90
I'm already there.
Biden was left with, you know, what we were coming out of that pandemic, man, and like I said, with all the money that was given out from the government, and just the fact that everything was shut the fuck down. I don't have to relive that for any of us.
Yeah, that shit was a bad time.
I think Biden has done one hell of a job in recovery, and if you do the numbers and do the crunch, you know, what we're facing is still these grocers and people that were gouging during COVID because they had to. That never came back down after COVID. The wages
True.
stayed the same, and those gouge prices that now we ain't getting a check in the mail to help us out from the government, they didn't bring shit back down. Gas didn't come back down. Groceries didn't come back down. Rent didn't come back down. All these things that they took advantage of. They found out that they don't have to go back. And rarely prices never go back. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah,
they never
no.
go back. That's
Never.
not how that worked. It's never been a thing. You know, you hear, I'm 52. I keep saying I'm older, and my dad tells me, I used to be able to buy a candy bar, a drink, and go out to a movie for less than $1. And it's like, yeah, well, you know, and now, you know, a new car is $100,000. Used to be about a Lamborghini when we were kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you buy a Bronco for that, or a truck. So, you know, it's all relative, I think, in the way that money is and the way that capitalism is and the dollar grows and things grow with it. But things are off skew and people are feeling, and I'm a parent of two. So when I go to the grocery store, my God, I can't feel like I got to take $100 bill every time I go, no matter what I'm going in there.
I mean, I've actually found that it's cheaper to eat out because if I go to the grocery store and let's say if I want to make hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill, hamburger, lettuce, tomato buns, hot dogs, hot dog buns, chips.
You're 50 in.
You're more than 50
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
You're more than
yeah.
50 in. Shit, you're almost 70 in and you ain't even bought charcoal yet.
Well, you catch up.
So
Yeah.
now you're talking McDonald's has a $5 deal now.
Exactly.
So
So
now
now
our
it's
health,
cheaper
so
to eat
now you're
out.
talking
Now
about the health of
Exactly.
poor working people
Yeah.
going down. Where man, it's cheaper to buy made processed crap, garbage food than it is to make your own at home. That is, dude. I mean, what's the answer to that? I mean,
I just want to touch on like something you were talking about, like how,
Smoke.
you know, coming out of COVID, you know, Biden kind of inherited it. And you
Yeah.
have to understand with inflation, it's not something that happens over the course of a year.
no.
It's from policies that could be 8 years ago. It could be
Bush
whatever.
policies too.
But if you're looking at the trend, okay, historically speaking, the 8% that we hit or whatever it was at its peak is really minute in number compared to other times in history
What it is.
where it has been very high.
I think you said 14%.
Also, one of the big things with inflation is increased money supply from the government. Well, we started on this trajectory downward after the stimulus from Trump.
Yep.
Okay, so that was a huge
The
thing.
stimulus was a
It
huge,
was a huge reason why
Huge
inflation
thing.
shot up also.
absolutely.
So I think people just need to understand that, you know, typically economics, it works supply and demand. So they call it demand pull, which means the demand is higher than the supply, which then allows the corporations to set their price whatever they want. Then there's something called cost push, which is where the supply chain costs increase, like materials, wages, and energy. And so the supplier passes them down to the consumer,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
The problem is that
That never rebooted.
that's part of that trickle down economics. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen like that. They
don't give it
price
back.
point and they price
There
gouge.
you go.
So their coffins are filling with money, and the consumer's still paying it at the end of the day, whatever they've set it at.
Because you
You
don't
know,
really have a choice.
That's right. So, you know, I think that it's just important for people to understand that it's not something that just occurred. You know, Biden actually has decreased the percentage to 3% now.
Yeah.
Federal Reserve and the World Bank, they say an economy is healthy at 2%. So we're right there
There.
at that percentage point where we need to be,
And
and that
Kamala's
is
proposal.
because of Biden's
Yeah.
policies.
Yeah. And it's worth saying Kamala's proposal says putting limits and guardrails on just what you were talking
And
about.
she is
With the
interested in
grocers.
continuing the Green Deal, which is the hundreds of billions pumped into the green, energy
Which again, that's
infrastructure,
turned into the
which is
boogeyman.
jobs,
They're so
which
good at
is
turning things into the
stimulus
boogeyman,
growth,
but if
you
you
know.
look into the Green Deal, it is fucking. It's.
And that's how society betters. I mean, investing in infrastructure, creating the jobs. That's what people want,
Right.
So
Right.
again, for people who don't think she's going to do a good job, tell us why. Why you think Trump would do better. Again, touching on that.
Show us he was president for 4
Give me
years.
something
Give me
that
an
he
example
did.
where he did.
Right.
But okay, so let me say this real quick. The thing about a lot of Trump supporters, you hear them talk about the Trump economy. Let me break this down for you. The way this works is when a new president takes office and they're coming behind another president, they ride off of that last president for 2 whole years is the economy that you're experiencing when you get a new president.
Handed down.
So you had Trump was in office for 4 years. The first 2 years he was riding off of Obama's economy.
Absolutely.
So you have his third year, and his third year COVID hit. I take that back. In his third year, we'll give you that. Like, he was starting to do a little something with his economy. That's the only year that you can actually say that if he did have a good economy, that his economy was good. Because when his fourth year is when COVID hit and everything went to shit out after that. So the man had 4 years in a term, and his first 2 years was riding the coattails of Obama.
And he celebrated that. He was claiming all
he was definitely claiming that it was because of him. No, that was still Obama's economy. Obama ran off of his first 2 years in office. That was coming off of fucking Bush's coattails. Now, you have the third year. Whatever he done is whatever he done.
Well, let's be clear. During that year, he did do, something for the economy. The problem is it only filled the pockets of the 3%.
Rich. Exactly.
So, again, if you want to claim that, if that's some kind of accolade that you're going to carry because you enhanced someone's,
and then you get to his fourth year, which was COVID. And I mean, whatever's whatever, the 401k, the stock market is not the economy. All I know is I lost 50 grand in fucking 6 months fucking around with Trump and his COVID bullshit. So you tell me how Trump's economy was better than anything you've ever seen before to where you're still supporting him. Because you have no idea what a Trump economy looks like because you've never seen it.
You've never seen it. You've never seen it. You've never seen it.
It's true.
No. And what you're experiencing it right now and blaming Biden for it. The things the pressures you're feeling, you're saying are his, and they're just him bringing it back from
something he inherited.
Exactly. Y'all want Trump to be Jesus and resurrect some shit.
Name it.
He's not Trump. Biden to be Jesus and resurrect some shit that was killed off by Trump. Like, the man hasn't had time for us to recover from COVID and everything that fucking happened with that.
He done too damn bad though.
I'm
not angry. Anyone who could have done a better job.
Again, where we're sitting is not only leaps and bounds, but it's a direct result of Biden policy.
Joe Biden policies, yes.
And the last thing you want is to put Trump back in the White House and to go backwards. So if we go backwards on where we're at right now, that means we're going to be twice as bad as we're sitting at right now.
Really backwards this time.
Exactly.
2025. Well, I mean, he's taking away.
It ain't nothing but dressing up for the Civil War is what that is. That's what it is, dressing up for a new Civil War.
It's stripping citizens down to where they are completely controlled. That's for sure. Where society is controlled by a bunch of autocrats, just like it is in Russia. There's your autocrats, the ones that
have absolutely,
money, and there's only going to be about 20 of them, and the rest of us are going to be subservient to whatever they want to give us as a society. And Elon Musk is one of them. They made themselves obvious. They're not even trying to hide this shit. They're just straight up saying we need to be in charge. For whatever reason.
I mean, and the thing that sticks with me is that thing that he said a few weeks ago where he says, vote for me and you'll never have to vote again.
That's right.
Y'all need to think about that shit right there. Because he knew exactly what the fuck he was saying. And I know y'all motherfuckers know what he was saying too.
It's hijacking of Christianity. It seems risky.
It's very risky.
It seems risky.
It's very risky, but
everything that I learned growing up in church, a lightning bolt should have done come on this cat. I mean, he is really thumbing his nose at everything that we've heard not to do.
No doubt. So, with that being said, I believe we're gonna go through our closing remarks. So, let's see, Chris, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, man. It was a great week. I can't wait to see what next week holds. We have the Democratic Convention happening, so
very good shit.
It's always interesting. For some reason, we get the really saucy protests. They're saying we might have a 1960s style violent protest outside because of the situation in Israel. And people are angry, and they're going to voice, they've set up the biggest perimeter they've ever set up around the outside of it. And, it could be a very interesting week. We could be talking about some real serious stuff on the streets of America next week. I hope not. Hope everyone's safe. Practice your right to protest, man. That's what we got in this country. It's all our rights and we're allowed to do it, and it's a beautiful thing. And just keep yourself safe. Don't harm anyone, each other. Remember that this great nation belongs to all of us, and we should all respect it accordingly. And but also let your voice be heard. Don't take no shit. I've been telling my kids since they went to kindergarten, don't take no shit.
Right on.
And for anybody that has different views, feel free to get on our page and post your opinion. I mean, we'll try to keep it tame, and you know what I'm saying? We'll discuss.
We'll discuss it. And
I just want to thank y'all for allowing me to be a part today, and absolutely, your right to vote and using that right is the most powerful thing you got. So let's make it happen.
Right on. Well, and for myself, I'm going to leave y'all with, I will be on the road all week. Any of you who follows my Snapchats know that you will follow my journeys with me. And this one's going to be very crazy, but I will also be going live from either the YouTube page or the Facebook page, or hell, maybe even both of them, because I've got plenty of miles and hours and I'm going to be bored as shit. So I'm going to let y'all rock with me some. I'd like to thank Queen City Grow for their submission this week. We really appreciate it and can't wait for your next one. I really, really want to send a special thanks to Ann. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate having you on here with your intellect and, things from your degree. That's always beautiful. Dewan, Jennifer, we hope to see y'all next week. But, oh, yeah, and I forgot to tell y'all,
like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Matter of fact, episode 3, that's what we're going to call this. Like and fucking subscribe. Because we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep on giving it to y'all. So, next week, same place, same time. Check us out. And I'm going to tell y'all about it. Peace.